movies for black girl nerds.
Thank you for this time on a very long day. I was just watching you all on the panel, and this time to discuss these wonderfully layered characters that have already drawn me in. Regina, beginning with you, Carmel is such a woman who has been beaten down, but she's looking for something to pull her sort of out of that abyss. She's on this journey of discovery, just trying to break through. Is that a fair assessment of her? And what does that breakthrough, could that even look like for her from when we meet her to the end of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for all the characters, and thank you for having us, they're very layered and complex. And I think sometimes the reason that's the journey of the story is, yes, Carmel is there for wellness, but there are many other reasons that the story explores why these characters are there. But, it's a safe assessment to say that she definitely has issues of self-worth and self-love and anger and blame, and she's coming there to discover things, and then in turn we discover a lot of things about her, and she discovers a lot of things about herself, I think.
It was very exciting for me to see you in this after seeing so many comedic performances, for you to see the stretch. Incredible, wonderfully done. Nicole, switching over to you, Masha has this ability to, almost like a snake charmer, to get these people to kind of follow her and do what she's asked of them, really without a whole too many questions. What do you think is the strongest quality she has that she's able to entice these people to follow her along and participate in what she's offering?
I think it's authenticity, which I know seems like a paradox with her, but it actually is. She's deeply authentic in the sense that she wants to heal everybody and believes she has the way of doing it. I mean, that was the basis for the character for me, was always that it was coming from a truth. And Masha has experienced so much and has so much in common with almost everybody that's there. And so her ability to say, trust me, and I will take you there. So I think, and that's when you're playing somebody like this, and I've played, different characters like in the others, where if you don't find the place of truth to come from, then it will read inauthentic. And that to me was really, really important. That people weren't saying, I'm going to run a mile because I can sniff out that she's lying or she's not being truthful. I think she has a mythology that she totally believes in and says, if you trust me, this will work. And that's why I want people to see all 8 episodes, because you actually see that play out.
Mm-hmm. I like how you
surprising.
I like how you said that, because I never got that impression that it was uncaring or just from a different type of agenda other than a place of trying to help these characters heal, particularly with your character, Melissa Francis. Francis has undergone things that a lot of people can relate to, who have been at the top of their art, their sport, or anything they have been the premier person of. When you look at what's motivated her to go to this place, where is that deep rooted desire coming from? Because she could have just trudged along, done a traditional route, but where is she at that she was like, I just got to step out and try something different to find this healing?
I feel like when we meet Frances, she's at a point where the damage is, she's come undone. And what I found so interesting about her is that she still kept presenting as very well, like she still put on a face and did her hair because it was more important of how people saw her and what they thought of her than actually what she really thought her own worth was. I think we live in a world where people, did you like my vacation? Do you find my kids attractive? Do you like there's so much presenting to the world. And when that goes away and you have to actually go, do I like me? Do I have any opinion of myself? I have nothing left. And I just thought she was at a spot where she went there because she truly didn't have any other choices. And I don't know if coming in there, I think it was a distraction. I've always said, I think she booked it for a spa holiday to distract herself, because she can usually talk and say witty things and get out of real conversations. And Masha would not let that happen. And she got stuck in just terrible uncomfortability because she had to admit, I have nothing. I'm broken.
Women, ladies, I have enjoyed you so much. This is a wonderful series. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you speaking with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Bobby, thank you for your time. I am very, very intrigued by your performance in the show. So thank you again for chatting.
Thanks. Yeah, good to be with you.
We see a lot of times people joke, oh, I'm washed. I needed an extra nap on the weekend. I'm washed. But it's a different thing when you live in a time where you had a lot of glory and then that glory is gone. And that's what we're experiencing with Tony. Where does Tony's pain begin from when we first meet him, and how does he evolve over the course of the episodes? Because he's in a really painful, dark place when we first meet him.
Yeah, look, I think when we find Tony in the beginning, he's closer to the bottom of that rope than we think, and I think he knows it. I think that what was interesting and challenging about the role was playing a guy who volunteered for something like this and then spent all of his time resistant to it. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. Why would you sign up for that? So clearly he's at the end, yet it's maybe his last gasp. I thought that made the stakes really high for him. And I thought it was challenging. I thought it was be an interesting challenge to play a guy. I know a lot of athletes. I know a lot of guys who used to play the game. And I just think it's a real psychological trip to be a professional athlete, because, you know, you're done by the time you're 30 in some cases. And I find that an interesting place to be psychologically. And then you add the physical element to it. This guy's addicted to painkillers. It's ruined his life. I just thought, well, it's an interesting place to be. It's an interesting, complicated, dark place to be. But, you know, the writing was so good, and getting to work with Melissa means that there's opportunity for comedy. And I find, like, when with desperate characters, sometimes it can be a real challenge to find out what it is that's funny about them or charming about them. But that's the fun of it, you know, is trying to find that. And I think along the way we succeeded.
You definitely did, because it's such heavy material just because of all of the characters and what they're experiencing. But there are those comedic moments, and I like that they didn't happen in the beginning. It was like a slow burn into getting to know all these characters, and it gave them so much more meaning. When you have a character like this, where it is a slow burn, and each time we get a little bit more of the layer chipping away, how does that transform you as a performer, that, you know, the vulnerability changes from course to course, from episode to episode?
Well, you know, you got to just hope that you have a good script, right? So we're lucky. I mean, you know, the source material is terrific. Liane and David E. Kelley, that was a great combination the first time out with Big Little Lies. I've worked with David before. You know, like, nobody writes complicated, messed up, conflicting, inner conflicted characters like he does. And so I thought that combo was really good, but really it all has to come down to how good the script is and how the script unfolds, you know, and then I hopefully can bring something to that. Again, you know, what I think was hard to do was figure out how to make somebody that's so dark be, you know, there's something about when you're, I think when you're at the bottom of the rope like that, there's a certain kind of not caring about anything that can be quite confronting, but also confronting in a funny way. And I thought there were a lot of good opportunities for that with his interactions with the rest of the guests, whether it be Luke's character or Michael Shannon's character, certainly with Melissa's character. And, you know, Melissa and I have worked together before. So I really looked forward to the opportunity to figure out a different kind of chemistry with these two characters, because they're both pretty sad people.
Right. The way they related to each other was beautiful. It was like a spectrum, but still on the same side of the spectrum, even though they were two completely different people. Well, I thank you for your time. This is a beautiful show. It's so layered and it's so interesting and unique. I thank you for talking to me about your character.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Nice to talk to you again.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you, Manny, for your time. No,
Jeandra.
No more long hair. I was feeling thin long hair.
No, I had enough of it. I don't know how ladies do it. I don't know how you ladies do it. Like it's so much work. It's yeah, I had to say goodbye to it because it was driving me crazy a little bit.
And it's hot in the summertime.
That too, of course, yes.
With your character Yao, of all these characters that we meet, they're flawed, they have these things, they're on this discovery, all these different reasons why they've been joined together. But your character seems to be the only with a clear defined path that he's unwavering from. Or maybe we just don't know if he's going to waver from the path soon. Is that a fair assessment of him? Because these are very layered characters, all of you.
I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I think all characters, all human beings have their own inner conflicts, have their own inner demons. And I, you know, when I first read Yao, I could, you know, see that dimension of him being super committed and really pushing forward the purpose and principles of Tranquilum. But, you know, at the end of the day, he's struggling with his own obstacles and bumps. Like he has this purpose that he's geared towards, but he's also dealing with having to please and also still be in a good relationship with the woman that he loves. You know, he's pulled in two different directions within this love triangle. So it's yeah, I think at the end of the day, yeah, I was just trying to keep it together because everybody else is going a little nuts. Yeah, he has his own struggles, that's for sure.
That's a heavy burden to be kind of like the voice of reason in the midst of all this chaos, but it makes it a little bit more, it makes it a lot more interesting. If you had to describe the show's called Nine Perfect Strangers, and we center a lot on the characters, but we have the three of you, your character, Tiffany's character, and Nicole's character, who are in the charge in a sense of these nine people. If you had to describe what Yao means to this group, to other people ahead of, how would you describe what his presence means to them?
I mean, the first words that come to mind is, you know, Yao is like the moral compass. He's the one that's trying to keep the ship afloat in a sense. Like you have the direction of Masha, the path of Masha, who's trying to take the risks and willing to jump the cliff in order to find more ideas and pursuits in the path of self-enlightenment. And then you have Delilah, who's, you know, on the safer side and more geared towards the stranger's safety and just, you know, she's more grounded in her pursuits. So yeah, it's like, it's just a constant juggle with trying to be with these two strong women. Sorry, I don't know if I answered your question there, but if you could repeat that last part.
No, you definitely did, because he has this meaning for the path. Everybody can't be the rah-rah person. And I'm glad that Yao is not. Oh, I thank you so much for your time, Manny. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the series. Thank you again for speaking with me.
Thanks so much, Jeandra. Take care.
Thank you, both of you, for your time. I love the dynamic that you brought to this group of troubled people, in that we need a little bit of a respite. And it seems like your character's trauma is not as deep yet as theirs as we begin to know you. Beginning with you, Samara, if you were trying to break down who Jessica and Ben are to this circumstance, who they are and why they were there, how would you describe them?
I think they're a young couple that has, I don't know, maybe too much external things that they have taken away from what's really important. And they're trying, well, at least for Jessica, I think she's trying to fill a void in the wrong way. And it's affecting their relationship, and she's such a fixer and a bit of a perfectionist that she's taken them to this wellness retreat to try and get them back on track.
with Melvin, for your character, for Ben, he was very interesting. And to me, that I live in Los Angeles, and I think about all the younger people who've come into money suddenly, whether it be via social media, or being YouTubers or bloggers, or however they did it. And we have this young man now who's of means by the way he got it. We'll learn during the course of the series how he became a person of means, but those means are making him suffer. Is that a fair assessment of who he is, and why do those means make him suffer compared to some of the other flawed people?
Yeah, it's a great assessment. And, unlike people that come into money fast, a lot of times it's from things of their own doing. They've done something. He hasn't really done anything. So parts of him feel he isn't really worthy of it. He hasn't earned it. So now he has this image that's bigger than who he is. So he has to carry around the weight of perception, how people perceive him and who he really is. He's not the guy he appears to be. And I definitely think it's a tough thing to deal with. It breeds insecurities. Mm-hmm. Have expectations so high of who you are based off of the things around you, but within you feel so small.
For sure. Jessica, from the outside from our point of view as the audience, your character seems like a sweet girl, it was sweet. You want to put your arms around her and comfort her, but for whatever reason, those same qualities are very grating to other people who are amongst this group of 9. What is the fine line between being sweet and being annoying, do you think?
Oh goodness, that's a line Jessica plays a lot. Oh man, that voice that she has, I was so annoyed by that voice by the end of the day. That's a great question. I think she really pushes those boundaries a lot, but she means well. She's got good intentions, so she's got a heart of gold.
I thought she was sweet, but some others would disagree. And lastly, Melvin, are we going to get a big booyah at the end of what's going on with him? Because I love a slow burn, and I've enjoyed it with all of the characters on this show, but I'm just waiting to see if Melvin is really gonna pop off when we get to the end.
I think the whole place pops off, and just have to Ben has to find, some stability within it all. Everything kind of goes hectic. So as everything around him falls apart, it helps him pull it together.
Fair enough. Thank you guys for your time. This series is cool, it's interesting, it's unique, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.